something weird just happened in Shannon Sharpe's $50 million lawsuit, and no one saw it coming. Imagine walking into a high-stakes court battle with the whole world watching only to find out the accuser's lawyer didn't even bother to show up. That's exactly what went down in Las Vegas, and even the judge couldn't hide her frustration. But here's the thing, this wasn't some scheduling mix-up or small error. Legal experts are calling the no-show strange, even reckless. And when you stack it on top of the wild allegations, public leaks, and the back and forth between Sharpe and his accuser, you start to wonder, is this case falling apart before it even begins? Or is something way more calculated going on behind the scenes? Let's break it all down. It all started with a lawsuit that dropped like a grenade. Out of nowhere, an anonymous woman filed a $50 million civil suit against Shannon Sharpe, accusing him of assault, misconducts, battery, and threats. The timeline? According to court docs, she first met Sharpe when she was just 19. What followed was described as a rocky but consensual relationship that spanned nearly 2 years. But buried inside that timeline were 2 serious claims of unwanted advances, claims that would ultimately lead to Sharpe being dragged into one of the most public scandals of his career. The woman claims the relationship turned toxic, alleging not only physical misconduct, but also verbal threats. And she didn't come to court alone. Her attorney, Tony Busby, the same high-profile lawyer who represented multiple women in the infamous Deshaun Watson case. That connection alone added weight and serious attention to the accusations. But even from the jump, Sharpe's response was anything but quiet. Shannon Sharpe didn't just deny the accusations, he came out swinging. Within days of the lawsuit hitting the headlines, Sharpe labeled the entire thing an egregious attempt at blackmail. He made it clear he wasn't going to stay silent and even threatened to countersuit, but it didn't stop there. His legal team took things a step further by releasing private text messages they claimed showed inconsistencies in the accuser's story. The goal? To flip the narrative and paint the woman as manipulative and misleading. Then, in a dramatic turn, the accuser responded by leaking voicemails allegedly of Sharpe himself where he could be heard making threats. It was a messy, he said, she said media where that played out in real time. The situation was spiraling, and while the internet exploded with opinions, Sharpe was dealing with backlash that threatened to tarnish everything he'd built. But instead of disappearing, he made a surprising choice. With public pressure mounting and headlines flying, most celebrities in Shannon's position would have gone completely dark. But not him. While he quietly stepped away from First Take, his high-profile role at ESPN, he kept his voice loud and unfiltered through his own platform. Episodes of his Nightcap podcast kept dropping like clockwork, as if nothing had happened. For some fans, it was a power move. For others, it looked tone-deaf. This dual strategy raised eyebrows. Was he protecting his brand by staying visible? Or was he trying to drown out the noise before it caught up with him? Whatever his reason, the message was clear. Shannon Sharpe wasn't going into hiding. He was still controlling the narrative on his terms. But when the court date finally arrived, everything shifted, and not in the way anyone expected. When the first court hearing finally rolled around, everyone expected fireworks. But what actually happened left the room stunned. Shannon Sharpe's accuser, nowhere to be seen. But even more shocking, her attorney didn't show up either. Judge Anna Albertson, who was presiding over the case in Las Vegas, didn't hold back. She openly expressed her disappointment that the accuser had no legal representation present. And she wasn't the only one confused. Veteran Nevada attorney Robert Draskovich, who isn't involved in the case, called it flat out strange. He said there was no tactical advantage to skipping a first hearing, especially not in a $50 million lawsuit that's already under intense public scrutiny. This wasn't just a missed appointment. In the legal world, this kind of no-show sends a message, and not a good one. And that raised a bigger question. Was the accuser's legal team falling apart? Or was something being hidden from the public? In high-stakes civil lawsuits, especially ones involving celebrities and public opinion, first impressions in court matter. And for Shannon Sharpe's accuser, this one was a disaster. Legal experts didn't mince words. Missing the first hearing without explanation doesn't just look unprofessional, it makes your entire case seem weak or unprepared. Robert Draskovich pointed out the obvious. There's no strategic benefit to skipping a hearing like this. It only fuels doubts. Some even began speculating whether the accuser's team was scrambling behind the scenes, or worse, if they were losing control of the narrative entirely. And for Sharpe's side, it was almost a gift. They showed up. They followed the process. And in the court of public opinion, that contrast matters. One side looks ready to fight. The other, suddenly, not so much. But there was another red flag one that had legal insiders raising their eyebrows even higher. As if the no-show wasn't strange enough, there's something else that's raising serious concerns. The accuser's entire legal team is based out of state. Her lead attorney, Tony Busby, operates out of Texas. The rest of her team, mostly based in New York. Not a single Nevada-based lawyer was present despite the lawsuit being filed in Clark County, Las Vegas. And that's a major issue. Veteran lawyers say local knowledge matters. Nevada's legal system has its own rules, its own tempo, and out-of-state attorneys can easily misread the room. As one expert put it, if you've got a case in Nevada, you better have Nevada counsel. Even the judge seemed surprised. It was clear the court expected better preparation, especially for a case of this size and visibility. The optics? Terrible. It looked like the accuser's team wasn't taking the case seriously. Or worse, that they weren't ready for the battle they started. Meanwhile, Sharpe's team had their bases covered. And while they didn't push for a settlement, they did make a strategic request. While the spotlight was on the accuser's legal team for failing to show, Shannon Sharpe's attorneys made a move of their own, one that caught even the judge off guard. Instead of pushing forward or seeking a quick resolution, Sharpe's legal team asked for more time. Specifically, they requested a 45-day extension to review the case and prepare their next steps. Judge Albertson agreed, but not without raising an eyebrow. She openly questioned why Sharpe's team wasn't more eager to settle, especially with public tension already simmering. So why stall? Some believe Sharpe's lawyers are buying time to build a bulletproof defense or dig up more dirt to use against the accuser. Others think they're waiting for public opinion to shift further in Sharpe's favor before taking any major legal steps. And then there's the possibility no one wants to rush, because what comes next might be even messier, with the next hearing now pushed to September 3rd. Both sides have time, but only one looks ready, with the next court date set for September 3rd. All eyes are now on what comes next. Will the accuser's team finally show up ready to fight? Or will more delays, no shows, and strange decisions keep piling up? For Shannon Sharpe, the stakes go far beyond a courtroom. This isn't just about clearing his name, it's about protecting a legacy, a Hall of Fame career, multiple broadcasting gigs, a growing media empire. It's all on the line, and with every new leak, every twist in the case, the public grows more divided. Some believe Sharpe is being targeted by someone looking for a payout. Others think there's more to the story he's not telling. Either way, this lawsuit is becoming something bigger than just legal claims. It's turning into a high-profile chess match with reputations, careers, and public trust hanging in the balance. Because no matter what happens in court, the court of public opinion never takes a day off. So now we're left with a case that's as confusing as it is explosive. A $50 million lawsuit and accuser with no legal team in sight, voicemails, text leaks, delays, and silence where there should be answers. Is Shannon Sharpe the target of a calculated smear campaign? Or is this just the beginning of something even darker? With the next hearing around the corner, one thing's for sure, this story is far from over. And whatever happens next could change everything. Don't forget to hit that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more updates. See you in the next video.